Hello, Mark and Lori.
How we doing?
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
She's back there hiding.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
She gotta be doing her knitting. You know how that is.
Well, heck yes. Hello, little bit. How are you? I know Without Borders said she wouldn't get home until later. She's working later tonight, so we'll wait for, hopefully we get a few more people in here. We're not really going to go over a whole lot more other than we've got Chaos Divers coming next week. I am so excited.
Yep, that's gonna be great.
I
I know they're excited to come back. They're busy as all get out right now.
That video that they did this morning, man.
Yeah, I know they had that Josh Cantu with them this here on this trip. You know, at the beginning of their trip, he kind of went along with them, and I watched that video when they were talking about it. You know, and that's what he does is all the video stuff and all that. So he's kind of trying to get Lindsay and Jacob, I think, kind of up to speed and show them some different things. And I'll tell you, if the videos come out like this last one, that was very professional, I thought. I mean, most of theirs have been good, don't get me wrong, but it's always good to learn all the, tips and tricks from the people that really know what they're doing, I guess. I wouldn't know. I'd be lost.
Oh, yeah. I would love to learn how to do editing on a video like that.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be something fun to do. I think, I mean, even if it's your own videos, that you mess with and different things, it would be kind of cool to be able to put them all together like that and make some. I used to make a lot of slideshow videos with a program I had a long time ago, but it was fun. It was fun to make a bunch of them, but nothing compared to something like that. That's for sure.
Little bit me either. I can barely work my phone. I was watching a TikTok video and I'm 50 years old and I just now found out that you can lower your top shelf, like your top rack, to go down in case, like if you have something tall and it won't go under, you can lower that sucker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you know
on
that?
What was it on?
On a dishwasher.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, I guess. I never thought about that. Some of them.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything nowadays is so different.
Complicated.
High tech everything.
Yeah, it's complicated.
The
more tech, it's harder on me.
Yeah, it's harder on us, but it just, like I say, Big Brother watching us all the time. You got all that, but at the same time, a lot of that tech stuff too is a good thing. But especially when you talk about missing person cases.
Yep.
To be able to go track video and phone and all of that stuff. It's no different like them using it on some of these high profile murders that's going on, saying, oh, look, he shut his phone off between this time and that time, and and this stuff like that. It's just, it amazes me what they can figure out about you real quick if they want to.
Yeah. Well, and that is right. You're right. You can use it for good things, but some people use it for bad things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it goes, for every piece of technology, there's a good side and a bad side to it. That's for
exactly.
Sure.
Anyways, a little bit. Did you know about the dishwasher thing? Be honest with me, because I did not. I put it in a Snapchat, and I had several people tell me that they did not know that either. So I'm glad I don't feel so dumb. Anyways, I just want to begin by thanking you and Lori for asking my channel to be a voice for Harry and, all missing people. I cannot wait until we do some other ones. I know you've got a lot going on next week. We've got Chaos Divers coming, and it's hard doing all this and we having to work.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I mean, that's why, it was kind of nice to go to the 2 weeks of doing videos, or, if like, say something would come up important with Chaos being here next week, we can always jump in and do one, whenever,
Oh,
but
believe me.
it kind of gives it a little bit of it gives, a little bit of a break to kind of get things together. I mean, I know, just like you and Jim and everybody else that's helping, you still got life, I mean, work, just like me, you got to work, you got to
Yep.
go family things, you got to do different stuff. And, I
Yep.
mean,
I agree.
this week for us is really busy. I mean,
Yeah.
starting Thursday, life gets busy for us for a little bit because I got a bunch of dental work and stuff I got to get done. And then her brother's just had surgery today. So we're going to go see him probably Saturday down in Kansas City. And, so, and then Chaos Divers coming in on Monday sometime. So, and going to be here for a week. So, yeah, this next stretch, 7 to 10 days is going to be extremely busy.
Well,
And at the same time, reaching out, just like doing these videos. Every time we do one, I usually get some people that reach out to me with different ideas, suggestions, things they know, or things that come up that you know I got to deal with during the week too. So
yeah.
it's kind of tough. I mean, I need I got a list right now of about a page long of phone calls and contacts and different things that I need to get done. But like I say, finding the time all the time, you hate to during the day everybody's working. So if you're trying to make contact with somebody, it's hard to make contact with them. And
Yeah.
at nighttime, next thing you know, you get home, you turn around and got to go back to work. So
Yeah. Well, I've had several people on YouTube, telling me, Allison, you've got to start going live more. So I plan on it. And I actually, about a year ago, maybe even longer than a year ago, I did a video on a missing woman. Her name's Sheena. And this girl reached out to me asking me if I would cover her again because nobody's covering her either.
sure.
And so I'm going to probably, I thought about doing it last weekend, but it seemed like I got 3 nieces that are due for a baby all
Oh,
within 1 month. And
wow.
so we had baby showers and then I had to help. I mean, it was crazy, but I am going to do her. And like I said, everybody, all my regular subscribers, and I'm getting new ones coming in. Um, they already know that Harry Milligan, which is your brother, he is the reason that I actually started my channel and became a creator. And it is probably the best thing and the best feeling knowing that we are keeping Harry's name alive.
Well, you've
And
done so much. I mean, even with your channel and the personal stuff you do has been outstanding. I mean, you reached out to like Dateline and different places. All the different places that have contacted me and stuff. A lot of them have started, you know, through your channel and or you personally. So I mean, that's to me
yeah,
that's just huge. And I think you're right on track of getting some other stories out there too.
yep,
I'm all for that. I mean, I'll help in any way. I'll come up and talk on
yeah. Well, I
panels
know
or whatever whenever I can. And
you're going to
and
help with ties
yeah,
and that other one that you've talked. I want to get with.
yeah. There's two other ones that
Yep,
I like to say other than ties. There's two other ones that I'd like to try to get involved, and that's um, getting Marilyn McAllister on her for her son David, and then Josh Wellman that's missing out of the
yep,
Cedar Rapids area, getting his sister Shauna, maybe to come up here and talk about their experiences and stuff. So I just think by doing that, it makes it more real to people that it's not just me. It's not. I mean, yeah, sometimes I get a little I don't know what the word is, psychotic toward it, or what what I mean. Some people, I don't know if that's the right word, but I mean, people think, oh, I mean, I've had people say, well, why do you keep doing this, and why do you keep going, and you don't get it. That's just, and I think it would be great to have other people
yeah,
help explain that, that's becomes part of your life when
yeah.
somebody's missing. I mean, no matter how they fit into your life, it's still something
Nobody
you just don't
knows.
walk away from. I mean,
Nobody knows unless they're going through it. But like I've always said, how do you not want to help?
Right.
Once I heard, I couldn't get Harry out of my mind, and I won't stop talking about him. And you know, I want to use my channel. You know, my mission statement is to have a positive purpose for
Right.
this channel, and you know, there's so much negative out there, and I don't want that for this channel at all. You
And
know,
that's the great thing about that. That's what I love about your channel is the fact that, like you say, nothing's ever negative on here. We discuss things and um, let people voice their opinion and try to answer questions and maybe agree to disagree or whatever. But it's all working toward the same goal, I guess. So
yeah. Yep, we want to be an advocate to help find answers and closures for, you know, missing victims, their families, and anybody else. So, well, before we get started on Chaos Divers, which I put their link in the chat, and I also put Harry's Facebook page, I want to bring up, you had put a post on Harry's Facebook page, and I got to make sure I got the right one. Yeah. Let me bring this up closer. I'm going to read this. This is the first part. It was on the February 19th, and Mark usually always puts something on Sundays. But this really hit me hard. It was like, wow, when you posted this, because what if? So Sunday, once again, and I can only sit here and think, what if? What if this was now? What if one person would have mentioned Harry left the waterworks at 2 a.m.? What if law enforcement knew that then? Would things have been different? Would they have looked into that? What if Harry's car was not actually parked at the library? What if it wasn't three guys that dropped Harry off? And he says, I only asked this because Steve Rockwell now says Doug was not with them. What if it had nothing to do with a card game or money? What if it was over a girl, and that's why there are no mentions of any at the bar or after? What if someone saw Harry's car the next morning still parked, but it wasn't at the library? What if someone saw his car headed south early the next morning? What if Harry was associated with Tim Ernie, as Stalker always said? Mike Stalker is who that is. What if there is DNA from the Ernie case that has never been matched to anyone? And I don't know if anybody knows, but Tim Ernie was murdered, 4 months prior to Harry going missing? And
about 4.5 to 5 months before Harry came.
So, okay. So, what if Harry and Tim's case are related? What if you know exactly where the car Jeff Adler owned that night is, and Harry could have, let me get back to the other one. I mean, this post really hit me. It did. It really hit hard to me. Okay. Here's the next part. Adler owned that night is, and Harry could have been in, and no one wants to look over it. What if someone admitted to Harry having Harry's military type jacket in his car, but burnt it and supposedly has no clue how it got there? What if it was your family member? What if you felt like everyone wants an answer and wants to help, except for the people that actually can? What if you were me? Could you sleep at night if you had this running through your head? Honestly, Mark, no, I probably could not. It's simple. I've relied on others too long. It's time, with Chaos Divers coming back, to continue to check the probable of Harry wrecking his car or some version of that, and for me to start pushing the envelope on the possible. Harry, I made a promise, and I'm going to keep it. It is time to push buttons and get answers and hold people accountable. What happened in the dark will be brought to light. That was very well said, Mark.
Thank you. But it's just the simple truth.
Yeah,
You know,
because we don't know what happened.
I mean, if you can go back to the first one. I mean, I can explain each of them as I, as what goes through my head. I mean, it's back to kind of like we were talking maybe earlier, about technology. What if it was now? I don't think it would be, any question. I think Harry's case would be so solvable. It's pathetic if it was now. I mean, but and that's sometimes hard to deal with because yeah, you understand it's 1984. It's 40 years ago almost. But you see things now of just like watching chaos divers do their thing. A lot of times what they work off of for searching bodies of water is the last place a phone pinged. And if it's near a boat ramp or a body of water or certain place on a highway or whatever, it gives you an idea of where to look. So you always have that thought of, boy, I wish we had the same technology then that you have now. I think it had made a huge difference. You talk about, like my next comment, what if somebody had mentioned Harry left the waterworks at 2 a.m.? I understand, I completely understand. Everybody here is probably, that listens has maybe listened to the Ken's Mains video that he made, and his look into Harry's, initial case file. Absolutely makes 100% sense. From what and what you would want to believe, Harry was dropped off at 3:30 in the morning, and or 4:30 in the morning, and something happened. I mean, an accident or whatever. That's definitely the most probable. But you take other factors, that's come to light 30 some odd years later, like Harry walking out of the bar at 2 a.m. That may have changed the whole thing. I mean, that would have, a lot of people have always said, well, why didn't they talk to all the people that were at the bar? Why didn't they talk to the, to Mike Stalker and the bar owner and the bartender and the people that were there that night? Nobody knew. I mean, plain and simple. Nobody knew that was the case. So all you had was just three statements of this is what happened. So and it goes along. What if law enforcement knew that then they could have done things a whole lot different. What if Harry's car was an accident at the library? You go back to the stories of being dropped off the library. No absolute reason not to believe those. I mean, at this point, I believe there's some reason maybe not to believe those. I mean, and I think it's partly clear in the initial case file. There's a small little part in there where somebody talks about seeing Harry's car the next morning going south through Albia, going south of town, in the south part of town, going south. That is a very good possibility. Was Harry driving it? I don't know. I mean, that's back to that not knowing enough facts. But and what if it was someplace else? What if we're trying to track just like looking at probabilities and possibilities and different things like that. Of course, everybody I've talked to, the people that do this for a living and look for people, they always say, you start at the last known spot you had somebody. As far as we know, law enforcement or anybody else knows at this point, we've always assumed that the last known place Harry was at was at the library. But what if that's not the case? And what a lot of them do is they look at a last known location and then they say, okay, let's start looking in a 2-mile radius, a 5-mile radius, a 10-mile, as you clear things out. And that's kind of how things have operated with the one individual I've been talking to on probabilities of locations, and then of course talking with chaos divers with Jacob and stuff. That's kind of how they look at things. And of course, I think it's some of how it was looked at from the very beginning, but everything was centered from the library going out. At this point, we don't know where if that's accurate or not accurate. At this particular point, I think it's maybe somewhat accurate. I mean, we know, he was definitely in the vicinity of the waterworks at 2:00 in the morning. It's the 2 to 4:30 part that comes into question. So,
well, one thing could change everything,
right? I mean,
and
it's no different than and I put the thing in there talking about Steve Rockwell. We met, I don't know what's it been, a month, 6 weeks ago, whatever it was now. Met at the law center, and talked with him and Denny Hollenrank, and in that conversation, I tried to clarify a few things. One of which was, okay, been some different stories or little pieces, that weren't quite clear to me as far as dropping him off and who was there and different things like that. So I tried to get him to clarify that, and through that process, he says, I don't know why Doug Matty says he was there, because he wasn't. He was with us for a short itty bitty part sometime between 2 and 4. But he wasn't with us at 4:30 in the morning when we dropped Harry off. Okay, so why has that been a part of the story from the beginning? And now all of a sudden it becomes different, so it kind of starts to make you think what is true, what's not true, it's just, then you start getting more information from people, and you look into, okay, Harry's car being seen going south. You get information of people saying, well, maybe his car wasn't parked at the library. Maybe it was parked here, those type of things. So it just adds a lot of, like say, the what ifs of everything. And it's back to the same thing. What if it had nothing to do with a card game or money? There's always been the Mike Stalker version of things of, a card game and losing some money. Maybe Mike, doing what he had been known to do in the past, maybe trying to get even, or get his money back by beating somebody up or hurting somebody and getting his money back. I mean, you're still back to, he left the bar at 2:00 in the morning, and there's nothing, absolutely positive to say that's where he returned to, was that area, so it makes you start questioning everything, all the what ifs,
Now, can I ask about Tim Ernie? Are they investigating his murder, or you don't know?
The last I knew, and this, like I said, I talked, we were friends, we became friends with fire to the right side, call my dicks. Yeah, hold on just a second here. Let me see what the heck that was. I have no idea. The last I knew, she was pushing the issue, trying to see if they were going to look into it again, see what they were going to do. As far as my understanding is yes, they are investigating it or looking back into it. Maybe, I don't know if you want to call open an investigation, but at least looking at things. I've talked to, Deputy Stewart. He says that, that was what was assigned to him, was to look into it. So we've had a little bit of conversation in regards to it. I'll be very honest, with dealing with his sister and everything else. At first, I had I guess I didn't want to, not that I didn't want to, but I just had no reason to believe that the two of them could have been related. I thought two separate incidents. But the more you go back and look at things and question things and I have, just like, the police file we're going through of Harry's, I have the same thing with Tim Ernie's, it's public information. looking through that, looking through Harry's, looking at different things, the proximity of when they happened, some of the same names that seem to be a part of each of them. You know, I don't know. I guess it's, you know, it's back to that what if, you know. And I guess my biggest concern, I mean, um, yeah, it's 40 years later, but you know, I guess one of the big questions that kind of runs through my mind a lot is, you know, they never have, you know, everybody thought the number one suspect was Harold Kemp. You know, he's now passed. He passed away, I don't know, earlier this year or you know, into last year, whatever. Ain't been that long ago, but he passed away. So you know, a lot of people thought it was Harold, you know. My personal opinion, like I said, I've looked through that file completely and looked at some of the stuff that was done, which was a fairly decent investigation. I'm just not too sure on it being Harold, you know, that it wasn't somebody else or, you know, yeah, I guess that's the easiest way to say it. I don't know if it was or it wasn't. But I know there's evidence there. There's different things that would concern me if I was a citizen of Albia, for one. You've got an unsolved murder in your town. There was DNA, you know, collected, you know, piece of evidence with DNA collected, you know, at that crime scene that was, you know, sent off to the DCI lab 40 years ago now, take it. And they done their thing and never could match it up with anything with Harold Kemp, you know. So I guess my concern would be is if it's you know, if it wasn't Harold Kemp that committed that murder, who did, you know, and has that person just been free to roam Albia for the last 40 years, you know? You know, there was talk in the case file of Harry's, you know, Mike Stalker talking about him and Harry going and purchasing weed from Tim Ernie, which could be very possible. You know, I mean, I'm looking at things as, you know, tried to take all the emotion and everything out with this whole reset deal. That's possible. I don't see that happening because I didn't think it, at least that I knew of, that Harry and Mike Stalker were ever that close of friends or associated that close, which could be wrong. But at the same time, you know, with DNA and the advancement they have today of DNA, even up to being able to do this new, what do they call it? You probably know better than me, Allison. The genetic, what do they call it? What do they call it, Lori?
Genealogist.
Yeah, that genetic DNA
Yep.
testing stuff. You know, I would hope that, you know, that would all be, you know, the DNA that they do have sent back in and every possible thing they can do to find a match for that DNA be done. You know, I mean, because if for some reason Harry's and Tim Ernie's are related, that answer of DNA could be a huge, you know, a huge piece of evidence or a huge, you know, at least, yeah, a huge piece of evidence towards one, either solving, you know, just Tim Ernie's case, but it could also, you know, help maybe toward Harry's, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there could be, you know, if you're looking at like you said, the possibility side, which being a family member without finding Harry in 38 years, you start to always look at the possible, you know. It's been tough. I mean, it was tough to listen to Ken Mays. I think he did an outstanding job. I think he was dead on the money. He didn't rule out possibilities, but he looked at back, you know, just what happened back then, the probability. And that's what law enforcement only looked at, was the probability that Harry crashed his car. Nobody's ever looked at all the other possibilities. You know, I mean, there's many stories out there that, you know, I ain't even sure that, you know, law enforcement is aware of yet, you know, because some of them are things I have that nobody's ever asked me about, or I've never put enough weight into to just want to throw people's names out there, or things like that, which is about the only way I can look into things by throwing stuff out there. So that's kind of my whole Tim Ernie side of things. I mean, I went through the Tim Ernie case. There's Harry information inside the Tim Ernie case. Whether that's ever been really looked at, I don't know. It's nothing, earth shattering, but it's definitely some things that concern me, knowing what I know of the whole makeup of Albia and some of the players and the people and the stuff. There's definitely some concerns there.
Yeah.
So I just think that's, it's just strange to me that, that ain't, a big factor in looking at everything. And that's another one of the just what ifs, what
Yeah.
if it, it's not, huh? And like I say, I'm not, throwing law enforcement under the bus or anything like that. I'm just saying that there's some, a definite lot of what ifs that, that you sit around and think about as a family member of a missing person,
Yeah. Well, like I said, nobody knows unless it's their family, unless you've actually went through that. And
like I say, the big thing right now is chaos divers coming back for the third time, I think now.
Yep.
We searched a lot of, we're doing exactly what I think needs to be done, searching the probable, taking a look at all the possibilities. I mean, people don't understand that, that's what I hope happened. I hope it is the probable, and we just haven't searched the right spot or looked the right way yet, and we find Harry and everybody can move on and go from there. But I know this time, with them coming back, I've been talking to Jacob. I think we talked for probably a half hour or so the other day on the phone. They're excited to come back. There's a lot of things that we, not a lot of things, but there's a few things that we searched before that, Jacob's concerned about. I mean, the pond on the Avery Highway, there's kind of a anomaly on that road side of the pond that, even DNR kind of talked about, that they looked at. They thought they thought it was really clear and everything else, but it still just kind of bugged them. It's bugged them since they were here. So they've got some new toys to look at things with now with their little buddy. We don't have to go dragging a airboat or a John boat around or anything like that. We can, if you watch this last video toward the very end of it, they show their little buddy that they use. It's remote controlled.
It is awesome.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, it gives as good a picture and does as good as having their big boat in the water. So,
yep.
There's some places like that. I know they want to go to the reservoir again. There's an area out there that has concerned Jacob, after, I know they did a lot of work there around where that new boat dock is on that upper side and different things over the years. So I think they want to go out there and really take a closer look on that to make sure that something, if say Harry's car was already in there and they start putting riffraff rock and that type of stuff there, they could have covered part of it up and part of it only be there, showing those type of things. So they want to go out. They want to double check some things and coming back in March. It definitely helps, because of the cold weather, the undergrowth in the water, the vegetation is down, so it gives them a lot better, a lot better look at things. They want to check that. There were some places that, given the situation last time with not having their airboat that, that got the hole in it and everything else, there's a few places that they want to, out around Star Coal. There's a strip mine out north of Weller. I mean, there's just a few places that we definitely want to look at, and then we'll probably also sit down and look at the map in the evening and look at places that are probable. Places. Okay, say did Harry go to Ottumwa? Did he? I know the weekend before he went to a friend. I'd like to find out who that is, if anybody would know. Harry apparently the weekend before went to a friend's house that lived out on Bluegrass Road between Blakesburg and Ottumwa. So I haven't been able to identify who lived there and whose place that was at this point. I'm waiting on some more information, but I'll put it out there that if somebody knows a friend of Harry's that lived out over there, that puts him in a whole different direction. I mean, does that put you going, Highway 34 all the way to the Blakesburg turn and going that way? Do you cut through the country, which, kind of goes out there, I don't know, kind of toward the airport and back around, I mean, I don't know the back roads out that way that much, but, so there's different things like that. We'll sit down and look at some maps, look at some things that I've come up with the other individual, Bill McIntosh, that I've looked at on the maps.
Mark, are you talking about you go past my house on Airport Road and go out until you hit the gravel going towards that way?
And I want to say that's one way that you could go, to get out to Blakesburg. I know
that's the easiest way.
Yeah, that's the easiest. That's what I thought. So I mean, he could have went that way, which puts him out the airport road and different bodies of water and stuff out there that we've really, never even looked at. That's back to that same thing I talked about earlier of looking at, last known location and starting to spread out. Okay, let's go 2 miles out. Let's go 5 miles out. Let's go 10 miles out, and look at all the probable places that, okay, if he did go this way to go to a friend's or whoever's, he could have ended up in a body of water or a ravine or a creek bank or, any place somewhere there,
that guy is looking at the maps from from 1980s.
He uses Google Maps and a couple other different maps, and we both kind of look at them all and try to look at all these different things. I've got another one that was sent to me recently that's an old car. It looks like on old Highway 34 that through the overgrowth from a camera above, you can't really see until you start looking at things in the winter time, or the later part of the year that I want to look into. So, people are still looking. People are, still sending stuff saying, hey, what about this? What about that? And which is outstanding. I can't thank everybody enough, but it's still back to that same thing of trying to work from a central location out. I mean,
yeah.
But I guess that would be me from what I remember. I never really went, from Albia to Blakesburg.
I drive that road all the time, Mark.
When I was younger, I never went that way. I didn't really have any friends over in Blakesburg that I hung out with, and we never really went over there much. So I don't know those routes, and I mean, that's something like you, if you know that route, that's what I'm looking for is for people to say, hey, here's a pond on a route to wherever, that is highly likely if somebody fell asleep at the wheel, was drinking, whatever, could have ran off into this pond, because we just don't know where he went, I mean.
Well, there's an old bridge and, a deep ravine right there going, oh my gosh.
So I mean, that's kind of what we're, I mean, that's back to that probable thing, and I want to, like I say, the focus is doing both probable and possible. And the more the probable that gets ruled out, then the more you got to look at the possible, but it's time consuming, like you said, when people work and people, do all this stuff, you can only do so much, I mean,
Well,
and I live, 30 miles, or whatever. Yeah, 30 miles away from Albia now. So it's
Mark,
tough.
you know that if you ever see something and you want me to go check it out, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, I there's no doubt in my mind. I know you would. Like I said,
because
so I mean, that's what I'm just asking people to help for you. The people that know places at that time in 1984 that Harry may have went, a friend or whatever, that he was, maybe hanging around that I didn't know about, or nobody's thought about that. Oh yeah, he used to hang out with so and so and go out there all the time. So we can check all those different routes like that. It's back to that. Best case scenario to me is even 40 years later is to all of a sudden, have them search a body of water or a ravine and say, look what we found. I'd be in heaven, because then you'd know it was exactly what it was, an accident.
Well, yeah,
There's and that would just clear everything up and be done. But
exactly, and you'd be able to put him to rest. Because
I mean,
we have no facts. We have very few facts. We've got a lot of theories. Is he missing? Was it an accident? Did he commit suicide? Was he murdered? And you're covering everything that you possibly can.
Right.
But I know one thing, I'm going to go take a drive out there before I go to work in the morning, because with Chaos Divers coming, I want that, we need to have everything. Oh, I got goosebumps right now.
There has been some rumors involving a pond, and I need to get out there and check with them, but it's not far. It's right across from the airport, of a pond that was actually pushed in at one time, filled in for some reason. But there's also a couple of ponds. I think it's on the Tangi. I don't know if it still belongs to Tangi, but I think the other property belongs to maybe somebody that's associated with the vet, or whatever, with the vet's office.
Back behind Lee. Yeah.
There's a couple ponds out there that, at some point I would like to get into. Just a matter of crossing them off a list, because like I say, the more the probable you can rule out. I don't think Harry, my opinion is I don't think Harry ever left Monroe County. Whether it was accident or foul play, I don't think he ever left Monroe County. Could he have? Sure. But at some point you're around here all the time. There are so many ponds, so many bodies of water, so many strip mines that I don't know that you could ever check everything, and some of them you got to look at that, you're just not going to run off the road and go into this pond and nobody ever know it, so that's another big thing. So, it's mainly about the probable. Like I said, they're going to be back here next week. So if anybody, in the meantime, between now and probably Tuesday, and I think they're going to be here maybe to the weekend or a little bit, maybe into the weekend. If you've got any ideas, any suggestions, anything, reach out to me, reach out to Allison, if you don't want to talk to me, or reach out to anybody,
reach
even
out
law
to
enforcement,
law enforcement.
Law enforcement's got some bodies of water that they want to search, for as part of their investigation, and same thing, crossing things off the list, the more we cross off, I know, like talking to Jacob the first time he was here, he was all bummed because they didn't come here and find Harry right away, and it was, I had to explain to him that it wasn't, I wish that was the case, but at the same time, you coming here and searching places ease my mind tenfold, because in the places you searched and you say, okay, I'm sure there's not a car and he's not here, that's one more place I don't have to think about.
Yeah.
So.
And again, I put their link in the chat, you guys, people that are, watching now and that are watch, later on, please go support these guys. They are amazing.
They are doing amazing stuff. I mean, like
they
I said,
really are.
I think they've done I think they've recovered 18 or 19 people now, I think, altogether. I may be wrong, but
they are the most unselfish people. I mean,
right now they're on a month-long, a little over a month-long, I think 6 week or a month-long expedition, I guess you would call it, where they've, went from home. When I talked to Jacob the other day, they were into Mississippi, either Mississippi or Louisiana. I can't remember. It might be vice versa. They were, coming from Louisiana going to Mississippi, or Mississippi going to Louisiana. Doing nothing but spending every day, all day, for the most part, looking for missing people that in water. I mean, if you're into them and or you are not and you haven't watched them, like I say, go to their website, their YouTube site. They're on Facebook, they're on YouTube. Click on the last video that they just done, and it is absolutely amazing. You'll see what kind of people they really are.
Yeah. I mean, just go promote, or, go follow them, subscribe, because
very interesting stuff. If it's something you haven't watched before, they'll definitely, Jacob does a very good job of explaining everything. He'll show you in the videos, he'll show you what he's looking at on the screens with his sonar and those type of things. It is very, very interesting stuff to watch.
Yeah. Well, we're excited about them coming and doing what they do best. Is there anything else that you want to talk about for future expectations or anything like that? Just the Chaos Divers, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I do want, Lori has been doing what she does best.
Yeah.
And Lori, do you want to come over and talk about your beautiful masterpiece?
I made a blanket we did a blanket for the Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs, which was Harry's favorite team. And we raffled that on the website, on the Harry site, and the money goes into the reward fund. So we're just trying to build the reward fund up, hoping somebody will be interested enough to come forward. So I made a green and cream colored one for St. Patrick's Day. So this one Mark will put on the website we're going to try and raffle, auction it again. You can make your bids on the site, and Mark will put it on for so long. And then we're just trying to see what money we can make off the St. Patrick's Day blanket to put the money towards a reward fund.
Yes. And anybody that wants to donate to Harry's Reward Fund, here is, you can deposit it directly to First Iowa State Bank, Harry Milligan Fund. The PayPal link is A681483 at Yahoo. Venmo is Bring Harry Home. We've got the collection jar at Top Notch. We've got one at the Highway Restaurant, and then we've got one in Des Moines, which I was going to go last week and check on it, but Jim ended up having to go.
There's one at Down Home Creations too.
And Down Home Creations. I know that somebody, a good friend of mine, she actually won one blanket, and she wanted to pay it forward and donate it to someone. And Mark and Lori picked the best person to do that. It was somebody that lived next to Harry. And you put pictures of that on Harry's page. And my gosh, that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, she's a pretty special lady.
Yeah, and it just made her day. And that was Tammy donated back to Harry's name, and then her son Caleb's name. He was killed in a motorcycle accident in last September. So yeah. Anyways,
that was awesome of her. Like I said, here lately, like I said, there's been some awesome donations made, to the Harry Fund. Most of it I put on there. There's some other friends, people, that have, I can't thank people enough. They've made donations, and it continues to keep growing. With Lori and her blankets and auctioning them off, and people,
Do you know what it's up to yet? I know
the actual amount right now at this very moment. I think there's still some funds to be transferred. But right now it's $28,344.91. So we're getting pretty close to $30,000. So
Wow.
which that's I mean that's to me that's just outstanding. I would have never in a million years thought that it would have got to this, and hopefully it's money to convince somebody to come forward. If that's the case. If not, we'll put it toward, like you said, we've talked about scholarships or
Yeah.
something along those lines. At some point someday.
I know there's somebody that's close to your family, and I know thinks the world of Harry. She had mentioned one day she would love to put a bench in Harry's name out to the welcome home soldiers. Wouldn't that be that would be awesome too.
We've kind of talked about that too. I think that would be an appropriate thing to do. So
yeah,
I mean, that way everybody would see it and be a place for people to sit down and rest and I think that would be a great thing to do.
So
yeah. Anyways, I just want to leave. What's that?
Lori said, I will probably, what's the day? March 1st. So
no, it's not March.
No,
well, tomorrow's March 1st. Tomorrow's March 1st. So, yeah, probably this weekend. I'll probably put that up and let it run through, St. Patrick's Day that evening sometime, and we'll just go from there because
boy,
I don't like to put them up too long, but I like to give everybody a chance to
yeah, exactly,
get in and put a bid in and all that stuff. So
exactly. I appreciate you guys coming on and talking about Harry, and I loved this, but it says, learn to light a candle in the darkest moment of someone's life. Be the light that helps others see. It is what gives life its deepest significance. That really touched my heart.
I like that. And I seen Mary Lou's comment. Yes. So everybody go out and really bid up the blanket, the St. Patrick's Day blanket, because Mary Lou had Lori make her a blanket, and here just the other day we got it to her, and she said that she will. She didn't. They couldn't come to an agreement on what she was going to pay for the blanket. So Mary Lou said whatever the bid is on this blanket, she'll match that for her blanket. So
oh wow, thank you, Mary
so hopefully
Lou.
it's like a lot more money.
Yep, and
just because it's Mary Lou,
yeah, well, I put the link, his Facebook page, so make sure you guys. When are you going to put that on, Lori?
Yeah, I like to say we'll put it on this weekend. I'll put it on Saturday. It'll probably be Sunday, I would guess, because since we got kind of plans Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so
yeah,
I mean, it should be this weekend. And other than that, all I can do is keep thanking everybody for all the input. Thank you, Allison. Thanks to everybody. I mean, what did you say, Lori?
I said, thank you, Allison.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for
all Harry's angels that are doing stuff in the background and helping out with everything. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I never get a chance to thank everybody enough, but I definitely, I do mean it from the bottom of my heart. I thank everybody for doing what they're doing and helping and keeping Harry's story out there and keeping everything moving forward.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to keep moving forward with everything, and make sure anybody, I've got the Monroe County Sheriff's Office phone number scrolling across the bottom. Anybody has any information, you can contact them. You can contact Mark. You can contact Lori. You can contact me, whatever
you got to do, get it to me to us somehow.
Please share this video, and please go support Chaos Divers and go to Harry's Facebook page
and invite people to Allison's page. Invite the crap out of them.
You know what?
That's what keeps everything going and getting it out there,
one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have thousands of subscribers. I know it. I feel it, and
I think if, like you said, I think if we keep on track going the way you're going right now, this will be a great thing. You know, like
Yeah.
I said, I really want to start, you know, when we get a chance to start working on involving some other people's stories in it too. So everybody ain't got to just listen to me talk about the same thing all the time.
Well, I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be doing Sheena again because the girl that her aunt worked with her, she actually on my Facebook or on my YouTube video, one of my YouTube videos asked me if I would do another one on her, and I'm
Sure.
definitely going to. So,
Where's she from?
Chicago.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yep. Yep. She went
That's pretty
to,
close.
she was taking care of her mom. Her mom was, dying, elderly. She went to leave to get on a train and never to be seen again.
Wow.
And her aunt has been, her advocate, but nobody else is talking about her. It's
Wow.
so frustrating. And I get everybody, it upsets me when you see thousands and thousands of people talking about one certain case when there's so many out there
Oh, yeah.
that
I mean,
nobody's talking about.
I see more of them and learn more of them every day, you know, and I mean, it's sad that, you know, it's hard to get, you know, I've been fortunate, you know, I really have been with you and everything else of being able to get Harry's story out like we have, because there's a lot of them that nobody pays attention to.
Yeah, it is. It's sad. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for coming in and listening to us. And thank you, Mark and Lori. And we'll, maybe we can, if I'm going to probably go live next week, you guys may not be able to have time, but if you do, I would love for you guys to join when Chaos Divers is here. Just give people an update. And
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I'm
No
sure
problem.
they're going to be doing a lot, putting their lives out there with their searches.
Right.
And
Yeah, we can
anyways,
definitely do.
Yep.
We'll definitely do something. Like I say, it might not be a hour-long deal or something, but
No.
we'll definitely try to keep you in the loop, and hopefully you
Yep.
can come out with us and meet them. I don't think you met them yet, so
Nope, I didn't had to work, but I've already told Lindsay I cannot wait to meet her.
yeah. So yeah, that'll be great, and we'll maybe do something live and go from there.
Yep. All right.
All righty. Thank you.
You guys have a great night.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Yep.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.